Mondays with the Mako. We are back with you, the holiday edition. Hope you guys had a great holiday and Merry Christmas. Really thankful for the time with family and friends and for the rich feedback from you guys over the last couple weeks. Big time excitement today for Gary and thrilled to do what he did over the last few years. His holiday tradition this year is giving back tradition, and Eric and I did that, and it was magical. Touched us in a really unique way. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Greg Jenkins and Monkey Pod Marketing. Got my shirt. It's an awesome shirt. It's comfortable. You did a good job, G, on the quality, and a great marketing company. They focus in automation and on Infusionsoft. And switching gears back to Gary. Gary's a great friend. He's inspiring. He's motivational. He's an excellent sales guru and a marketing magician, but he's a public speaker and a true personality by nature. And I've known him for 15 plus years now. And we've had 3 Apollo Group employees in a row, back to back to back with Townsend, Trish, and Gary now. So we've got that sync and that connection going. Gary, brother, thank you for spending your Mondays with the Mako and for being a great friend and for talking today a little bit about public speaking. How are you?
I am fantastic, and I couldn't be more honored. I love watching your videos. They're powerful, they're emotional, and that's kind of the guy I am too. So just to be a part of this is cool. Thanks.
Awesome, brother. Thank you, Gary. You're one of the main reasons that I'm in my current situation at work and my career, and I'm real thankful for you egging me on and prying me and poking me to get out of my comfort zone and go do something more with myself and my career. And you've been real inspirational to me and many others, brother. Let's talk a little bit about your background real quick. Tell the community a little bit about who you are, how you got into public speaking, maybe a little bit about your radio and your music background.
Sure. So when I was 20, I was going to school, and the idea was I was going to be the next Howard Stern. So I got my degree in radio broadcasting. Yes, that's actually a degree. Well, I found out that starting in radio, you get about $7 an hour, and I had to move to Burlington, Colorado. So I couldn't afford to live on that, and I decided that was a very short-lived goal. So I started working in the hotel business as a concierge and doing stand-up comedy at night. And I was fortunate enough to meet an amazing casting director by the name of Gay Gilbert out here in Arizona, who got me on an audition for an agent. I nailed it, and a week later I had an audition for the movie Three Kings with George Clooney, and I nailed my first audition, and I had a speaking role and my own trailer, and I felt like the shiznit. And then I met some other people and moved to LA and took some comedy classes at the Groundlings in Second City. And things were going great, but then life feeds you something you didn't expect, and had to come back to Arizona to take care of family who wasn't doing so well, and decided to part-time take a job at the Apollo Group. And 10 years later, I realized I wasn't a comedian anymore, but I still missed the speaking part. And then found my way over to Infusionsoft, and then it was a beautiful combination of using my ability to get on stage and motivate and make people laugh and think, combined with my love of marketing and small business and just helping people out. So that's how I got to where I am now.
Terrific background, brother. How did the music and the Hollywood scene and the comedic or comic role, how did that play into what you're doing now?
Well, first off, you have to know your audience. That's a big part of public speaking. You have to know who you're speaking to. And I realized early on in my stand-up comedy that if I was in front of like a corporate audience, I was telling different jokes than when I was in front of a bunch of truckers in Mississippi who were 7 deep on the Budweisers. You know what I mean? There's just a different brand of humor you could use. So you learn how to read people. You learn how to know what their likes and dislikes are, how to get the biggest laugh or grab their attention the strongest. And that's really what comedy taught me. And then again, with marketing, is you have to know your audience, right? You have to know who you're selling to. You have to know your niche. You get rich in your niche. So I really think it's a big time advantage having that comedy and that improvisational background that I have. Yeah.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit more about the music piece too, and what you were doing with the music, selling karaoke machines, but then found yourself enriched in that environment, totally singing from stage.
Yeah. So I was one of the many people at the time. I guess it's still kind of big, but back in 99 turned to 2000, karaoke was huge. And being that I was a comedian and I love to sing, I do a mean Louis Armstrong. I see trees of green. Okay, we're done. Anyway, so I love singing. I love comedy. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'd saved up some money from some gigs I had, Three Kings and a couple other things. And I went out and I bought a $5,000 karaoke machine. I was sure that it was going to change the world. So I bought this machine and it had every song up to date right there. And I was going to go knock on every single door I could, every bar, every restaurant, every hotel. And I was going to say, hey, you not only get the karaoke with every song, but you get me. And that's worth it right there. So I went and I bought that $5,000 machine and I worked hard and it was good for about a year. And then they came out with this thing called the iPod. Yeah, so it was about that big. It cost about $50 and it held twice as many songs as my $5,000 machine. So as you can imagine, maybe not the wisest investment. I'm thinking next I'm going to invent mesh umbrellas or solar powered flashlights. So
Nice.
Yeah. But that was my foray into business. I did well for a year, and then technology took over and I realized maybe I should help other businesses. That's kind of my thing.
Very good. Very good. Tell me about public speaking. Why is it so scary to everybody? Everybody is just damn fearful of it. They would rather jump out of a plane, do a million other really scary things versus getting on stage and actually doing a 15-minute presentation. Why?
Why are people scared? Well, let me go back to real quick why I'm not scared. My dad is retired military, and I went to 11 different schools in 12 different years. So if I wasn't outgoing and willing to sit at the table with the kids who I didn't know, I was never going to have any friends. So that's why it's not scary to me, because I was raised with having to fight for friends, and the spotlight so that people would recognize me. But I think that other people are scared because, to be honest with you, they feel it's a little braggadocious to say that you're an expert in anything. And to say, hey, I am so smart at this particular thing that you could learn from me. And so I think people don't want to get up in front of others because, A, they're afraid of failure, right? They're afraid of getting up there and not being able to portray everything that they know. And secondly, they're afraid of other people looking at them and thinking, I know what this guy knows, or I know more than him, or I'm better than him. So they're afraid to take that position of dominance. I think that's why people are scared, but you know what? That's totally just an assumption, because I'm fortunate to not have that scared gene in my body, but I do get butterflies before I go up and speak. I do have the moments of doubt, but then I realize that I'm not jumping out of a plane, and the worst thing in the world that's going to happen is I'm going to look silly. And frankly, I used to beg people to think I was silly. So.
Awesome. That's totally fair. All right. If you're scared, how do you remove the fear? What are some things to do maybe to help a timid public speaker that's just getting going with this? What do you think?
Well, a lot of people think it's picturing the people in their underwear. And I'll tell you from firsthand experience, that doesn't work, because to me, that's completely distracting, because then I'm either like, wow, hey, nice, or I'm like, oh, gosh, probably not a good idea, sir. Put on some pants, So, I think a way to get over it is practice. And I know that when I started doing my speaking with Infusionsoft, even though I've been on stage a million times, you, Jeremiah, helped me out. You went up into a room with me and you let me go over a 45-minute pitch 3 times in a row, and you weren't afraid to give me the feedback that I needed to hear, because everybody thinks that as a speaker, if I ask you to watch me, I want you to tell me all the things that I do great, but you have to be willing to take the constructive criticism so that you know what the audience likes, because in your head you may feel that A is important, but to the recipient, they may feel like you're spending too much time on A, and really B is where you need to elaborate. So first off, go through it. Even if you're the kind of guy like me that likes to speak off the cuff, it's important to have structure, have that skeleton, but be flexible with how you disseminate your information. If you see that you're saying it one way, then your audience might, you can see in their eyes. Are they fiddling with the fork if it's a brunch meeting, right? Are they coughing excessively, or a lot of people getting up to go to the restroom? So those are the things. So practice, practice, practice. And when you're on stage, pay attention to the cues your audiences are giving you. And third is remember that you studied for a long time, whether it's in school or just reading books or working with other experts. You're up there for a reason. You really do have more information than a lot of people. And what you're doing is you're not on stage selling anything. Even if your goal is to take a credit card, you're not up there to sell anything. You're up there to bless people. You're up there to bless people with information that's going to make their life or their business a little bit better. And as long as you take it from that altruistic mean, right, that you really are intentionally getting up there so that somebody doesn't have to hurt as much as they're currently hurting, then you go up there and you feel like you're the fireman at the scene. You know, you feel like you're the doctor diagnosing the problem and giving them the medicine to help them grow. So take it that way. Practice, feed off the cues, and believe in yourself and your message and why you're doing it. That's probably how I get over it anyway.
That's strong. That's like a big 4 right there, a strong 4. Really, really good. And then obviously staying in tune with your audience, knowing who they are and really, you know, where they're living, how they're living, putting yourselves in their shoes, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Yourself in their shoes. I love it, G. That's awesome, buddy. Let me ask you this. What do you do when you stumble a little bit or when you make a mistake?
My favorite thing to do when I stumble or make a mistake is to be totally, and this might not even be right, I don't know. There might be speech teachers that are watching me right now going, are you kidding me? Don't tell people that. But for me, if I stumble or I make a mistake, I am a humble man and I admit to it right at that moment. If I say something incorrectly or I forget what I'm about to say, I look right at him and I go, you know what? I have absolutely no clue where I was going with this. Let's backtrack. And then I try to get myself back on path, right? I'll do that. Or if I say something incorrectly, I'm not going to continue on and forget about that flub, because that may be that one thing that distracts the person from taking in the rest of your message because their head is stuck in that mistake that you made. Everybody knows that you're human. Just because you're on stage, they don't think that you're infallible. They don't think that you're absolutely perfect and that you know everything on the planet Earth and that you walk on water. That isn't what people think. They know that you're a human being. And you know what? Because 85% of your audience is scared to death about doing exactly what you're doing at that moment, you already have the points with them. They already completely are in awe of the fact that you have the talent and the ability to get up there and speak, because they could never do it. So you already have that. So if you can make yourself human, admit to those moments, backtrack, and it also goes to that other part that we haven't talked about, is you have to get feedback from your audience. You have to stop on a regular basis and make sure that people are engaged with you. Ask those questions. So make a statement and say, how does that make you feel? And point one person out in the audience and tell me about a time when that happened to you. Or give me an example of how you do that right now. Because when you get them engaged, two things are going to happen. One is it's going to progress you in a way that you didn't even know that you could get. And secondly, everybody in that audience is going to be thinking, is he going to call on me next? I better pay attention, right? It's just like you don't want to fall asleep in class because then the teacher asks you for the answer and you don't have it and you look silly, right? So
that's some amazing nuggets right there. Keeping the engagement happening, keeping the movement and the motion happening through the speaking engagement. I've been in so many where it's gotten dry and stale and a real lack of movement. That's incredible. And that's coming from professionals, G. I love how you're bringing it, brother. Amazing. All right, last two questions. I'm going to let you run. I know you've got a busy day today. What's the largest crowd you've spoken to, and what's the smallest size?
Well, largest. I spoke in front of a Microsoft convention in Los Angeles. I was doing comedy at the time, but I was with a group that did about 45 minutes of sketch comedy, and then I got up there and I had to answer questions by myself in front of about 10,000 people. So that was my biggest. Scary as heck, exciting. But you know what? It kind of actually, it relieved me a little bit because I didn't feel like I had to find that person to focus on. I didn't have to, you know what I mean? It was like just so big that I was like, I wasn't as scared, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense. And the smallest, come on, that's crazy. I guess it would be you and me in the office, Jeremiah. That would be my smallest one.
Well, that was a great session, by the way, and that was a dang great speech that you put put through. And I was flattered that you asked me to come up and take the time with you. I mean, speakers unite. We've got to stick together on this stuff. Last bit, you see that I've got my glasses on in the holiday cap, G. So it's almost time to go, brother. How do you feel about?
You do. You look like Eric Estrada from Chips. Just thought I'd let you know that.
One of my favorite shows. How do you feel, brother, about the way speaking is moving with technology moving forward? We've got so many different ways of connecting. We see TEDx all over YouTube now, and all these different speakers all over the spot. I mean, you see me now with videos out every Monday. I mean, what's going on?
Well, I'm so excited because if you think about it, when I started speaking, and now I'm going to sound like the old guy who had to walk 3 miles up the hill in snow to get to school. But when I started, there was no internet, there was no YouTube or whatever. So my audience was anybody who paid for a ticket, right? So maybe it was 30 people if I got lucky. But now with the internet, you've taken down every single border and every single wall, with the exception of, parts of the world where they're not getting the internet access that they should for whatever reason. Your audience is worldwide. You have the ability to impress upon a billion different people who want to get your message. And to think that you could find one person who likes you enough to share you with their 70 friends, and of their 70 friends, 5 could share with 70 each, and of their friends, 70 could share with 100 each. Massive. It blows my mind. The only thing that you have to worry about is not how to speak, but what's your message? Where is it coming from? How is it going to help people? And if you come from an altruistic place and you're really trying to help people, and what you have is going to do just that, the borders are down. I'm excited. I'm super stoked.
Wow, Gary, I'm gonna leave everybody with that one. Can't beat that. You've got a massive heart, brother. You've given me so much. You've given this community today so much. Thank you for spending your Mondays with the Mako, brother. Get out of here. Go Cardinals. Let's clinch this sucker up today, huh?
That's right. That's my shark fin. You like that?
Right on, Gary.
All right, go Cardinals. Unless, of course, you're a Packers fan, then go Packers. Not really. Go Cardinals. Thank you. All right.
All right. Bless you, brother. Cheers.
See you, man. Bye.